The Warriors are on the air. News Talk 1350 WRWH Cleveland presents White County High School football. Online at WRWH.com or on your smartphone with the TuneIn Radio app.
White County Warrior football is brought to you by Adams Foods IGA, hometown proud of our White County Warriors. White County Farm Bureau, your full-service Georgia Farm Bureau insurance agency. Deb's Dollar and Discount, name brands at discount prices. Lamar Canup Insurance, auto, home, and life. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Abersham EMC, a Touchstone Energy Cooperative and proud supporter of the White County Warriors. Walmart, save money, live better, Walmart. And by Mountain Marble and Tile, turn your living space into a dream come true. Mossy Creek Golf Course, an excellent destination for your next round of golf. Doug Freeman Nationwide Insurance, great rates and the customer service you deserve. The Soda Fountain Cafe, great food and open late on game night. Smoky Mountain Trader, outdoor gear and brands you'll trust and styles you'll love. Online at SmokyMountainTrader.com. By North Georgia Tire and Auto Care, offering a great selection of tires at discount prices. Benchmark Therapy, from injuries on the football field to weekend yard warrior, Benchmark Therapy can help. Betty's Country Store, best fresh cut meats and produce in North Georgia. Cobb Vantress Cleveland, the global leader in broiler breeding and proud supporter of our local teams. Barrett Funeral Home, we're behind the Warriors all the way. Cleveland Family Dental, your smile is important to us. Cleveland Family Dental. DQ Grill and Chill, Dairy Queen is open late on home game nights. North Georgia Technical College, learn something new or explore a different career. Think North Georgia Technical College. Advantage Insurers, your auto owner's insurance agency. And by Western Sizzling, great steaks, incredible buffet. Complete Comfort Heating, looking forward to serving your heating and air conditioning needs. United Community Bank, play hard, win strong with United Community Bank, the bank that's service built. Prichett Tire and Alignment, anybody can sell tires, we sell service. Norton Insurance, White County's largest insurance agency with access to over 100 insurance companies. Dr. Don Robbins Optometrist, supporting good vision care and our White County Warriors. Captain D's, game day or any day, Captain D's is the great seafood place. Jackie Jones Ford, where we make it easy for you to drive your new Ford vehicle. And by Tim Hunt State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there with auto, home, and life.
Warrior football is a sports presentation of News Talk 1350 WRWH. Online at WRWH.com or on your smartphone with the TuneIn Radio app. Now, let's go to the stadium for live coverage of the Warriors.
And welcome to News Talk 1350, your home of the White County Warriors. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Wrwh Harris. Along with me tonight is Mark Turner and Brent Maddox. We're live here from Ed Bryant Stadium here in Carnesville, Georgia, as your White County Warriors travel tonight to take on the Franklin County Lions in the regular season opener. And we'll be here to share all the action with you tonight as White County opens up their season. And we'll be breaking all that down coming up here on the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show. We'll talk about our game here tonight. We'll talk about some other games going on around the area. We'll talk about some games going on around the state. And we'll have a couple of special interviews coming up. All that when we return. You're listening to White County Warrior Football regular season opener here on News Talk 1350 WRWH.
Your station for White County Warrior football. News Talk 1350 WRWH Cleveland.
And welcome back here on the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show here on News Talk 1350 WRWH, live here from Franklin County High School, Carnesville, Georgia, at Ed Bryant Stadium. Wrwh Harris, Brent Maddox, Mark Turner with you. And guys, hard to believe the regular season's here now, and it starts counting, even though we got a lot of non-region games, but tonight you're either going to be 1-0 or 0-1.
Oh, no question about it. It's just looking at we got a nice little view of the skyline here from the press box, and maybe not quite the weather we were hoping for. If the rain blows out of here, I think the temperature is going to be pretty good. It feels good right now, but there's some storms in the area, and look like there might be for the next 45 minutes to an hour, but hopefully.
What I don't like is those clouds in the far distance are moving in opposite direction of the clouds that are closest to us.
Yeah, and
so that's usually not a good thing.
The good thing is a very slow moving, so you don't hopefully won't see any funnel type things evolving, but it looks pretty good behind it once this big front gets out of here, maybe it'll clear off and we'll be able to get this thing in, because it's a beautiful stadium and big night for both teams. So
yeah, and some changes done to the front, to the actually the main high school building there since I've been here. Franklin County High School, their school building is got an all glass front now. It looks very nice. I think that's been done in the last 2 years. So very nice setting down here. Been since 2010 since we've broadcasted down here at Franklin County, and just a heads up, if Franklin County scores, hopefully they won't, but they do have a cannon that will go down onto that gravel lot down there. I was told they'll bring it out from the agricultural barn across the way there. Just kind of a unique thing that they do here at Franklin County High School. But
and they'll hear it in Cleveland.
And now is it
yes,
one of the bigger cannons, or is it?
Used to be.
It's loud enough that the press box will shake.
Well, I'm telling you, I've got a friend that has one of those tiny ones. It's about this big.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how loud it is. So I didn't know if they'd upgraded to the newer model, or if they still had
they got the old wagon wheel cannon,
one that
they
roll
use.
out from
probably an older
World War
model,
II or something,
But White County and Franklin County tonight. White County and Franklin County's played each other 10 times, 5-5 record for both squads. Franklin County won the last meeting in 2011, 21-14, and White County won the first 3 meetings though ever in the series in 1964, 1965, 1972. The teams did not play between the years 1973 and 1992, and also between 1993 and 2008. But White County has actually won the last 2 meetings here at Ed Bryant Stadium in back-to-back years in 2009 and 2010. So that's something that White County has going for them. I was talking with Mark a little bit last night, and something that I talked with Katie B. Davis from WDUN. She mentioned this as well. The last hour is very close games always between White County and Franklin County. All these games here in the last 5 meetings have been decided by 10 points or less, and just seems to be a place that you come and it's going to be a close ball game no matter what.
Well, I remember back in 2010, Drew, you and I were doing the radio, I believe then, and that's one of the hardest hits I ever seen Ashley Lowry take.
Right.
And that was towards the end of the game. I believe we were behind going into halftime, and then we had to end up pulling it out there towards the end. But, what a great game that was. And if I remember correctly, White County had already clinched a playoff spot, but Franklin County was just trying to get some wins on their record.
Yeah, they were trying to get into the playoffs as well. White County had already clinched the top spot we were in sub-regions back then. White County had already clinched the top spot on the north side sub-region and was going to play Gainesville the next week for the region championship. So, yeah, White County did kind of come in with, just kind of went through the motions for a little bit. Franklin County almost won the game, and we were worried Ashley Lowry might not be able to come back from that hit, because it was a big game the next week against Gainesville. White County, though, at that point had already clinched that spot, and it already basically clinched a home playoff game at that point. So that game still close, and probably going to be more of the same tonight, Mark. These two teams run similar style offenses, and just looking at on paper, looks like they've got athletes at the same exact position, and it's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Yeah, I think something that probably helps both defenses this week in preparation was the fact that they're going to see the same kind of offense tonight that they've seen all week and all fall practice and all summer and spring. A lot of similarities offensively as far as the triple option is concerned, and probably in the type of personnel that's running it. So if you're not an option team and you have to play an option team, especially early in the season, you can't replicate that in practice. You have to do it on a daily basis to be pretty good at it, and so it's hard for like a spread team to replicate the option in practice, and so that's an advantage both defenses have had this week. Whether or not that plays in your favor on Friday night, a lot of it's got to do with what the other teams has athletically and what they're able to do on the line of scrimmage. But should be two pretty evenly matched teams. Franklin County's got, I think, a little bit more experience, especially in the 11th and 12th grade groups. A lot of guys played last year. We have a lot of juniors that played and a lot of sophomores, but our senior list of guys that have a lot of experience is pretty short. But I think we've got a great chance. They've had a good week of practice, getting some people kind of healed up a little bit. I don't know that we're 100% healthy where we want to be for opening night, but you got to play with the cards that are dealt you, and we've got to get Kai back. That's still weeks away, but I think we're ready to go, and we'll play well. We didn't play real well last week in the scrimmage. I think there was some disappointment there, but played really well at Union County 2 weeks ago. And I talked to Union County's head coach Brian Allison yesterday at the 8th grade game and about the scrimmage and his thoughts on it. And he thought White played really well against them. Thought they looked really good offensively and bragged on the athletic potential that we have in the backfield this year and the things that he thinks we're going to be able to do. So hopefully we'll look more like that team than we saw last Friday night.
Franklin County's head coach is Jerry Underwood. He's in his 4th season here. This is his first stop as a head coach. He's compiled an 11-21 record. Last year they went 6-5, lost to Adairsville in the first round of the playoffs, 35-7. In 2014, they snuck into the playoffs there with just a 4-6 regular season record, but they lost in the first round to Jefferson, 38-7. They're now moving from Region 7 AAA. They're now in Region 8 AAA. They'll play White County tonight, then Stevens County and Habersham Central and Elbert County, some teams that are not in their region that are some local rivals for them. Should have some great gates there. Also Madison County, I forgot to add them in as well, so they were able to schedule a nice non-region schedule. Their region schedule is they start out at Hart County and at Jackson County, then they're home against East Jackson and Morgan County before finishing up the season on the road at our former region foe, Monroe area, who dropped down to AAA this season. We'll talk more about the game coming up between White County and Franklin County. We'll take a look at some key players and guys that we'll be probably calling the names a lot tonight, and we'll break that down here coming up in just a little while. We're going to take another break, come back. We're going to talk about some games going on around the area and some games that, should be in progress right now, but I believe Buford and Roswell is in a lightning delay, so they have yet to get going there in the Corky Kell Classic. But we'll talk all about that coming up. You're listening to the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show on News Talk 1350 WRWH.
The Warriors on Friday, the Dogs on Saturday. News Talk 1350.
Time to look at some other games going on around the area tonight here on the opening night of the regular season across Georgia high school football in week 0. White County's new Region 7 Quad A. 3 of our opponents will be in action tonight. Some games going on in Hall County, some games that of interest. Probably be a lot of people at these ball games. Gainesville will be at West Hall, first time in a few years that they've been able to match up. Chestatee at North Hall. Another big one down in Atlanta, Blessed Trinity is at St. Pius. And then, of course, White County, Franklin County here tonight. Marist, the only team out of the region not playing tonight. They will open up next week against Lovett, which will be another good game. Taking a look around the area, we mentioned earlier Buford and Roswell in the Corky Kell Classic. That game's being played at McEachern High School, but they're in a lightning delay right now.
No, they're not.
They're going now?
Roswell's up 7-0.
Okay.
They ran the opening kickoff back 92 yards.
So they were supposed to kick off at 5:45, and so they were a little bit delayed in kicking
just in
off.
it.
So.
I just happened to see it on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
UGA recruit Xavier McKinney took it back 92 yards to the house. So
another UGA recruit had a great game last night for Houston County as Jake Fromm lit up Mary Persons and had
a great first half.
Sure
threw all 4 of his touchdown passes in the first half.
Sure did. And part of the that was part of the Corky Kell, I believe.
Yeah,
as well.
It was. Those games were played at Mercer. Lee and Jones played in the nightcap, and I watched a good bit of it. It was a pretty entertaining football game as well.
Looking around the area, East Hall at Habersham Central. Have they played many times before?
They've played a few times.
Wow.
There's a little bit of lightning there.
Big lightning bolt there.
We're still a long way from game time, so we don't have to worry about it yet. But they've played a few times. The big thing there in that game is that Habersham Central is opening the renovated stadium with the turf and everything, and so I'm hoping that the weather's good to them up that way, because I'm sure they've got some pregame festivities planned to kick off the new stadium. So, but should be a huge crowd for that one too up there.
East Jackson's at Hebron Christian. Fannin County is at Gilmer. That's a big one up there in the mountains, a border war there between those two counties. Jackson County at Banks County, another one. Jefferson will play the new school. Is this the first year of varsity for Discovery?
Yeah,
football.
play the JV schedule.
Had
last
a
year.
varsity basketball last year,
Yeah.
but that was it.
Well, congrats. You get to open up with Jefferson. Johnson's at Social Circle. Northview's at Lanier. Sequoia's at North Forsyth. Towns County will be up at Hayesville, North Carolina. Weather not good up there, according to radar. Winder Barrows at Clark Central. And then tomorrow there'll be some more games in the Corky Kell Classic. North Gwinnett in Brookwood at the Georgia Dome, along with Mill Creek and Colquitt County. Some other games of interest from around the state. Valdosta is at Lowndes County. Allatoona is at Cartersville in a matchup of state champions there from last year. Woodward Academy is at Westminster. Lovett's at GAC. Warner Robins is at Northside of Warner Robins. Elbert County's at Hart County. Guys, I don't know of a time in most teams did not play in week 0 unless it was Corky Kell or teams playing other teams from out of the state. New regions, new reclassifications have forced a lot of teams to have to play this week. And, man, there's some very good old rivalry games or some games that are kind of being renewed here. Some border war games going on. I don't remember a list like this, to open up a season in a long time.
Well, I think the big thing is that with the realignment, there's so many small regions now. So a lot of teams are having to play, especially in our area of the state. A lot of teams are having to play 4, 5, 6 non-region games. So they're able to, White County's a perfect example. They're able to reach out there and play the Lumpkin and Rayburn's and North Halls and Dawson's and Lumpkin, those kind of games again. And a lot of teams are in that. And, some teams like a Jefferson, my guess is they had a hard time finding the game. Who wants to play them to start the season? So Discovery playing their first varsity season, they're looking for something outside of 7 AAA, which they get thrown into right off the mix. So, but you're right about the Elbert County, Hart County, and I think the 0-week thing. A lot of teams, White County foregoed spring practice and had two scrimmages. Most teams still had spring practice and have already scrimmaged 2 weeks ago, and they just say, what the heck, let's have 2 or 3 off weeks during the season, especially if you think you got a great chance to go to the playoffs, more rest time for your kids. Let's go ahead and play on a 0 week. I think there's 140 games that involve Georgia teams. There's some Georgia teams are playing Florida teams or Alabama teams or North Carolina teams, but the total of 140 games, 144 games or something that involve Georgia teams playing this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games, and Trent back in the studio will try to keep us up to date on all these scores as they come in, and hopefully everybody's able to get their games in at a decent hour tonight. Just bad weather all over the state, just a lot of rain showers and a lot of thunderstorms just circling around all around the state and all across really the southeast, looking all the way back toward Texas. It's just a big storm system, but anyway, we're joined here by some other Franklin County boosters here who think we're from Franklin County. That happens sometimes, but anyway, a lot of great games. Hopefully everybody stays dry and can stay safe tonight and get their games in and get the regular season rolling. We're going to take another break, come back. We'll hear from the Franklin County Citizen Sports reporter, Scott Scoggins. He'll be here to talk with us a little bit about Franklin County. We'll have that when we return here on News Talk 1350 on the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show.
News Talk 1350 and WRWH.com, your proud home of the White County Warriors.
Welcome back to the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show here on News Talk 1350 WRWH. Drew Harris here with you now. We're pleased to be joined by the Franklin County Citizen Sports reporter, Shane Scoggins. And Shane, thanks for joining us here on the Tailgate Show.
No, it's my pleasure.
All right. Been a few years since our two teams have hooked up in a matchup, going back to 2011, I guess. But talk about what the last few years have been for the Franklin County Lions under Coach Jerry Underwood.
Well, Coach Underwood has been here for 4 years now. This is starting his 4th year. The team started off real slow under him, but they've been building every year. And if we are fortunate enough to make the playoffs this year, it'll be the third straight year for the first time since the 1990s. So they really are working on building some things here in Carnesville, and the team this year is expected to do well. We have a lot of experience coming back, and a lot of skill in the backfield especially.
Yeah, the last few years you mentioned going into the playoffs there in AAA again. Y'all weren't as affected by the new reclassification and region swapping as some of us were, but still a very competitive region there with the likes of Hart County and Morgan County and Monroe area.
Yes, we've been in the mountain region the last 2 years, up in 7 AAA, and came back to 8 AAA this year, which is more of our traditional rivals here at Franklin County, and teams that we know something about, and we won't have to make those long trips over the mountains to Blue Ridge and that kind of thing anymore. So we're real happy to do that.
That's a long haul even for us, and I know it's got to be for you guys when we used to have to go over there. But anyway, talk about the offense here as we get into the. Kind of the critiquing a little bit of what we're going to see. I think both of these offenses are option offenses, but I don't think Franklin County was running this particular style of option offense when we saw them last. So what are we going to see from those guys?
It's a very traditional option offense. They put it in actually between the scrimmage and the first game last year. They when Coach Underwood came in, they had run more of a spread offense, but they took a look at the personnel and that type of thing, and decided that the option fit who we have better than what we did have, and so they put that in. And last year got off to a slow start, but by the end of the year they were running it real well and doing well with it, and so they're hoping to build on that this year. Now they changed the offensive coordinators. But that they're still using the same principles and that type of thing this year. And Coach told me that they don't have that many plays, but they want to run it perfectly. And if they do that, then they believe they can move the ball.
And defensively, what kind of base style do we see there from the Lions?
They run a multiple defense with mainly a 4-man front. They do put 5 men down occasionally, and have a new defensive coordinator this year too. The coach named Heath Hinton. He coached. He was a head coach at Lakeside in Atlanta last year, and he's come down to coach the defense. And I've been told that they've adapted real well to his new terminology, but it's going to be real similar to last year with just a few different coverages and that type of thing.
And for our fans traveling down that may be listening now, what can you tell? Any changes since I think 2010 was the last time we actually took a trip down to Carnesville? Any changes since then?
Well, I don't know if the new high school was open at that time. They probably were still doing construction at that time.
Sounds familiar.
We have a new high school building, and there's a lot more parking available now than last time y'all were down here, but the stadium's still in the same place and basically still looks the same, that kind of thing. So. All
right. Well, Shane, we certainly appreciate you joining us, and good luck to you guys the rest of the season.
Well, good luck to y'all, and y'all have a safe trip down, and we look forward to seeing you.
All right. That's Shane Scoggins from the Franklin County Citizen, sports reporter there, joining us here on News Talk 1350. We'll be back for more of the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show here on News Talk 1350 WRWH.
Your home of the Georgia Bulldogs and the White County Warriors. News Talk 1350.
And back here live on the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show. As you heard the intro there, we are the home of the Georgia Bulldogs as well as your White County Warriors. Georgia not in action until September 3rd as they'll play the North Carolina Tar Heels in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. Pregame will start here at 1:30, and kickoff will follow at 5:30. Dog talk after the game. And a new night for Bulldog Live Coaches Show, moving from Mondays to Thursday evenings. Tune in from 7:06 to 9 p.m. You can call in and talk to Coach Kirby Smart. The Mark Fox, the basketball show will still remain on Mondays from 8:05 to 10 once basketball starts. But our locally produced Warrior Rally show can be heard Thursday evenings prior to the Bulldog Live Coaches Show. So on Thursday nights we'll go out of our show into the Bulldog Hotline there with dog talk and all that. So just be sure to tune in there on Thursday nights. Taking a look more in depth here, if you heard from Shane Scoggins there from the Franklin County Citizen. Talking about Franklin County Harris, it's by the way, folks, it is absolutely downpouring rain here at Franklin County High School. If you're listening to us on the way to the game, don't get in any kind of hurry. Just take your time. Some storms all around. We still got about 55 minutes until kickoff, so hopefully this system will move on out before. But neither team has been out on the field. I think both teams were able to do a little walk across and walk through, and then everybody's back in the locker room now. Nobody's out on the field, but there's some hardy Franklin County fans, though, not risking giving up their spot in the bleachers, sitting through it with umbrellas. But anyway, that's dedication.
That spot is still dry.
Yeah,
that's true. But taking a look here, names we'll probably call out a lot tonight with Franklin County Lions. Their quarterback was our leading rusher last year, Tyreek David. He rushed for 832 yards, 449 passing yards. So don't throw it a whole lot. They like to option out. Their B-back is Connor Williams, who was their second leading rusher, 794 yards. Eshawn Hall, one of the A-backs, along with Myron Kraft. They've got a couple of go-to receivers there in Jacob Brown and Walker Dunn. They've got a guy that will line up mostly at defensive end, but sometimes they'll come in the game at tight end, and that's Tyler Duckett. He is a big figure, about 6'3", I was told, 240 pounds or so, and a big kid there. Will probably play some on both sides of the ball, but mostly will make probably his share of plays from the defensive end position. Coach Underwood giving me their starting lineup, and it was told they kind of run a multiple defense. The starting lineup indicates they'll come out in a 4-3 format and try to play 7 in the box, probably sneak up one of the safeties or corners there, and probably put 8 men in the box against White County's option. But Caleb Crane, who was out for White County last week under the weather during the scrimmage game, ready to go tonight, and he'll get the start at quarterback. We'll see Savon Clark probably take some snaps there as well. But Nasser Clark will start at tailback, Desmond Lowry at fullback for White County. And guys, it's, good to have these weapons in the backfield, good to have some experience back there this year as well for White County on the offensive side of the football.
Well, I mean, no doubt about it. It's great to have those returners that did get a lot of snaps last year, and let's just see how the line does today. That's going to be the big question mark there, and good kids out there, and we'll see how they do. I know they'll keep on developing as the year goes on.
Yeah, and the big concern for both teams right now is the weather, because the ball handling between the quarterback and the B-back, and then always having the pitch option on a lot of your plays. You have a concern about how slick the ball is going to be, how slick the field is going to be, and will it limit us? We've talked about it a lot. The improvement in the passing game. Can we throw it? Looking at the radar, maybe by game time, some of the stuff ought to be out of here. So there may not be a whole lot of rain at game time, but the field's going to be wet and that kind of thing. But it's you have to adjust to it, and both teams are playing in the same conditions. But both teams have a lot of returning guys with a lot of experience that we had on the ball. So it should be interesting to see how it goes early in the game as you kind of get comfortable playing on the field.
Defensively for White County, this has always been a key part in Coach Ballard's forte there on the defensive side. Some guys that we look to call their names a lot. Obviously, the linebackers are very good with T.J. Ballard and Nasser Clark. They'll get the starts there tonight. And then, of course, at defensive end, Jay Leposki. Those three guys are really smart, heady football players that really anchor this defense. And then, of course, with Savon Clark, Kirby King back in the safety positions, you feel really good about White County on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I said earlier, talking to Brian Allison, Union County's coach yesterday, and man, he was raving about Jay. I mean, just how he said we didn't have an answer for him, couldn't block him. He's just so big and fast. And of course, last week, he was in the backfield all night long against Stevens, even though the result wasn't good team defensive wise. Jay was a guy that really made things tough for him, and I think we're all looking for a huge year out of him. We got to get TJ completely healthy, and if you compare him with Nazar in the middle part of that defense, that's two pretty good players there. And as you said, Savon has a chance to be a really, really good safety. And Kirby King, you can tell he's a coach's kid, that he understands the game and always in the right position and gets the other guys lined up a little bit. It kind of reminds you of Will Flowers a little bit a few years ago when Will was here. And He's not quite that type of player yet, but you can see some similarities in how they play and just the understanding of the game, that kind of stuff. So, defensively played pretty well at times last year, most part. Held state champion Pace Academy to 16 points, and that included a couple field goals, including the game winner with 8 seconds left. So, I feel like defensively we'll give ourselves a chance to win it tonight if the offense just can find a way to move the football.
Saw some good things, too, up front on the other side of the line from Michael Mintz and Will Haviland through the first couple of scrimmages.
Yeah, Michael's the coaches really like Michael. His frame, he's very athletic. He hasn't obviously played near as much as Jay. He played JV last year, but he physically in practice he looks good, and he's kind of growing into that. Will's played a lot of football. He made some. I remember especially in the openings, since it's the season opener tonight. Last year we played Pickens in the season opener, and he made a lot of plays defensively for him last year against the Dragons, and so he brings some experience and kind of understands how to play and be a guy that's in that rotation all year.
All right, we'll take another break, come back, and we will continue on with our Prichett Tire Tailgate Show here in soggy Carnesville, Georgia, as the rain's still just coming down in buckets. And hopefully, though, we won't have any delay. I haven't seen anybody seen any lightning in the last little while. I think it's just all been rain.
Actually, looked a little bit clear down there now, Drew.
Yeah, it's starting to lighten up back toward the west there. So hopefully this storm is moving on out. We were in a severe thunderstorm warning just a few minutes ago, but I think that is moving on. Hopefully it hasn't yet to come, but I believe it's moving on. So some of these storms, as we saw on radar, are kind of weakening before they get here. Hopefully everybody knows some strong storms move through our area back home in Cleveland. Hope everybody's stayed safe, and if you're traveling down and listening on the radio or TuneIn radio app or on WRWH.com, just take your time. There's nobody here yet on our side, so there's plenty of good seats. You might want to stop and maybe stop at a dollar store and maybe buy a towel or something.
Well,
it'd probably be a good.
They announced a minute ago they're selling ponchos at for $3. So
I'm sure it says Franklin
I bet
County
they're
there.
green though, so you might want to
are,
stop and buy a.
Drew, everybody is here. They're just in the car listening to us right now.
That's right. Yeah. So if you're sitting in the parking lot, just just chill out, listen to us, and we'll get rolling. Now I do see Charles DeWalt and WTVN just pulled up, and I'm very curious as to what they're gonna do tonight, because they have to set up outside, and
they brought the lift.
That's that I would not want to be in that lift. No, not at all. So good luck to those guys tonight. We will help them out any way we can. But anyway, you're listening to the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show, News Talk 1350. We'll be back after this.
The Dogs and the Warriors play here. News Talk 1350.
All right, welcome back to the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show here on News Talk 1350, live here at Ed Bryant Stadium at Franklin County High School. Wrwh Harris, Brent Maddox, Mark Turner with you as we get set for the regular season opener. Rain letting up a little bit here, and skies starting to lighten up as well. So hopefully the worst stuff has moved on. It is still raining though, but not as hard. Field will be soggy. I see some of the yard line numbers are starting to fade into the grass a little bit.
Yeah, and as a former coach that had to paint fields, that's all that hard work.
All that, it's down the drain.
And it's gone before the game even starts.
They did spend more time on the FC in the middle, though, because that's hanging strong in the middle of the field. But
that's been branded.
Yeah. But, where the markers are, we should be able to tell with ease, hopefully, even though I'll probably mess them up at some point. But at this point of the tailgate show, usually we will have our pigskin picks. We will pick 5 high school games this week. It's a little bit more fun when we have college games to pick. These high school games are very tough to try to find some games to pick that we can actually make an educated guess on, even though it doesn't really even matter.
Well,
sometimes.
I'll take Houston County over
Mary Persons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'll go with that one as well. So we cancel each other out on that one, and I'll go one for a half-point bonus. I'll say that Jake Fromm throws 4 touchdowns in the first half.
400-something yards passing.
But
26 and 36.
And I'll say this too. I'll say Buford and McEachern start out in a lightning delay, but then McEachern runs the kickoff back for a touchdown.
No, Buford's not playing McEachern. So.
Or they're playing at McEachern.
I'll take that,
they're
Drew.
playing Roswell at McEachern. I'm sorry. But they did play McEachern last year, right?
Last couple years, I think.
But anyway, first game we're going to pick tonight, Blessed Trinity at St. Pius. These two teams should be in a region, but they're not. They are in separate regions and playing a kind of a rivalry there. And Mark, we'll start with you.
BT coming off a run to the state championship game, led big in the state championship title game against Brunswick, I believe it was. Was it Brunswick? No. Can't remember who
I'll
it
look
was.
it
But
up
anyway,
in a minute.
and lost the lead and lost the game, but they got a lot of folks back, and they are really, really good, so I'm going with BT.
Brent?
Got to second that. I think Blessed Trinity's still the real deal.
At St. Pius, I might go with the Golden Lions here. Let's go with St. Pius at home.
Just get the early season
yeah,
lead there.
let's go ahead and differ. All right, East Hall and Habersham Central. Brent, starting with you.
I'm actually going to go with Habersham Central. I think they're going to pull it off. I think they're an improved team.
Mark?
I'll go Hab Central too, but I think it's going to be a shootout. East Hall's really good offensively. Got the quarterback back. They got have a receiver that's a mid-major D1 recruit and a pretty good running back as well. So I think East Hall will be able to score, but I'm going to take the Habersham Central Raiders opening up the new field led by Michael Babers.
I'm not just differing from y'all on purpose here. I had made up my mind I was taking East Hall here. On just a lot of things going on with Habersham, thinking about the new field, trying to get the program turned around. East Hall, I'm sure they've got some athleticism. I'm gonna go with the Vikings there. Jackson County at Banks County. I'll start first here, and I'll take. Yikes! I didn't think hard enough about this one. I'll go with Jackson County on the road. Brent?
Second that. I think Jackson County, I don't know if those big receivers graduated or what, but they were really athletic last time we played them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jackson as well.
All right. Finally, I'll agree on one. Fannin at Gilmer. Mark, starting with you.
It's at Gilmer, correct?
Yes.
And they are also opening a new renovated stadium, new turf up there as well. Goodness, I don't know. They're on their third coach in 3 years. Not because they haven't been. They've been pretty good, but the last two have just gotten. Or the last one, Zach Grange got a big job down at Thomasville. Moved back down to South Georgia. So I don't know personnel-wise about anything about either team. I'm gonna go with Gilmer.
Okay. I'm taking Gilmer as well.
I am too.
I'm going
Gilmer.
with former White County player and assistant coach up there, Thomas Flowers, Gilmer Bobcat.
I think there's a good chance that Tommy's probably up there as well.
Yeah.
He was going to try to get up that way. And while we're talking about Will Flowers, who we mentioned earlier, played at Kennesaw State the last 2 years and has had some major injuries, and he decided to give up football, transferred to Valdosta State. He is actually on staff at Colquitt.
Yep.
So who plays in the
Dome
Corky tomorrow.
Yep.
He's a ninth grade coach, but he's also helping with the varsity DB. So
Great
Tommy
kids.
Flowers is going to have a game to
go
choose
to
from
Gilmer.
each week.
Yeah, could go to Gilmer
Colquitt's
tonight.
a little further drive than LJ,
just a little bit,
but obviously that's where Tommy's from and has family down there. So
and then oddly enough, that's our next game and our last game that we're picking. Mill Creek versus Colquitt. It's a rematch. Was that a quarterfinal or semifinal game last year? I can't remember.
I want to say quarterfinal.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm not positive.
But Mill Creek itching for a chance to get back at Colquitt there. Colquitt under Rush Probst, who, there was that early report he was to be suspended. What was it for the whole season for the headbutt incident? But that was overturned by somebody, and it wasn't the GHSA.
The folks that oversee the certification process in the state.
The Colquitt Booster Club. They overturned it.
But anyway, Colquitt, Mill Creek at the Dome tomorrow. Brent?
I got to go with Colquitt. I mean, I think just the traditional football that they have and how many years they've been good, and it just seems like they just keep on restocking every year.
Mark?
I'm going to go the other direction. I think Colquitt is rebuilding. They had a close battle with Coffee County in a scrimmage last week. I actually talked to Tommy a little bit about it, but I think if this game were 6 or 7 weeks down the road, I'd probably take Colquitt. Since it's the first game, Mill Creek's got a ton of folks back. They're really, really good on the offensive line. I think that might be the difference. So I'm gonna go with Mill Creek.
I'm going to take Colquitt as well, just from the big game experience
Oh,
there.
yeah, no
and you know, they've played in the Georgia Dome. They play there at least twice a year, it seems like, once at the beginning, once at the end. So, anyway, some differing picks there to start out the season. And we're going to have a lot of fun when college football starts, especially that first week. There'll be some great games to pick from when we get to that point.
I would like to throw in a curveball here and
All right.
try to pick the region championship out of the Gainesville region.
Gainesville region. Is it Gainesville, Habersham, Central?
Lanier, Tequila.
All right.
That's all right.
Are we doing this right now?
Yeah, doing it right now.
Go ahead, Drew.
Thanks for that. It's Gainesville, Lanier, Habersham, Central, Tequila. Who else? Winder Barrow?
Winder Barrow.
Is it Buford?
Appalachia.
Appalachia.
And
No, Buford's not.
Central.
Okay.
I'll go with Gainesville.
Brent, here's your question. Go.
I'm gonna go with Lanier.
I'm definitely.
It was between Gainesville and Lanier for me.
Well, but for me, it's between Tequila and Lanier. And I'm gonna probably go Lanier as well. I think
I'm
defensively.
gonna go Tequila.
Defensively, okay, I'll take Tequila. What the heck?
All right.
There you go.
There we go.
I like Tommy
That's
Jones.
for bonus at the end of the
I
year.
like Tommy Jones.
Do you know
former
something I
Logan County
don't about Gainesville? Or
They're
Nothing.
just not as good as they have. Now, they might be really good defensively, but, Tequila's used to playing the big dogs in 7A or 6,
Right.
what was 6A, and Tommy's done a great job down there. Tommy
Yeah.
Jones, former Logan County High School coach, and have a lot of
oh
respect
yeah, I
for
forgot
him.
that's where he was.
And,
Mark, quickly, middle school football opened up last night. Give us a little synopsis.
did
of that.
played really well. Went to Union County, got a 22-7 win. And I'm not just saying this because I have a son on the team or pro White County, obviously, but the score wasn't indicative of how much White County dominated the game. Up 22-0 at halftime. I dare say Union didn't have 10 yards of offense in the first half. White County actually kept the ball the entire third quarter, did not have to play a single play of defense in the third quarter, drove it down inside the 20, just running it basically right at the defense. And unfortunately, on the second play of the fourth quarter, they fumbled. Union got it back. Defense forced another punt, and then what set up Union's touchdown late in the game was another fumble. And they went about 40 yards in 3 plays to get on the board late, and White County pretty much run the clock out the last minute and a half out of the game. But played really well. A group of kids that I think the coaching staff, I talk to them all the time, and they really didn't know what to expect. And it certainly went better than I thought it was going to, but just a good way to start the season. They play a really good Fannin County team. Thursday, Fannin beat Rayburn yesterday, 21-16, and Rayburn's usually the big dog in that Mountain League. And so if you beat Rayburn, you've done something,
Right.
and so Fannin must be pretty good. So they'll play their home opener Thursday at 5:30.
Brent was at volleyball last night.
Volleyball, the girls split last night. They went down to Johnson. They lost the first set to Johnson. Played really well, but it just took them a little bit to get going. Then they played the second set against Stevens County, and they swept them in 2 sets. Also want to give a shout out to our 9th grade volleyball team. They played their very first game yesterday and beat Johnson's 9th grade team. And then our JV girls have only lost 1 set. That was against Tallulah Falls, I believe. And other than that, they're undefeated. They've won the rest of the games.
Let me throw in a plug for the softball team.
Yeah, I
Varsity
was going there next.
They played really well last weekend, finished 3rd in the Lanier Point Invitational down in Gainesville. Beat Duluth and Jackson County in pool play, lost to Gilmer County in the 3rd pool play game for a spot in the championship game. Gilmer went on to win the whole thing. And then they beat Rayburn in the 3rd place game. So they started 5-3 late last week, and in that tournament, then they beat Rayburn again in a non-region game this past Monday, but dropped games to Banks and Lumpkin non-region games on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I guess that puts them at 5-3. So about 5-5 now, I guess. So they've gotten off to a decent start as well.
All right, well, that's a wrap for the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show. Stay tuned for the Jackie Jones Ford pregame show coming up after this next break. We'll hear from head coach Bill Ballard, offensive coordinator Jake Cantrell. Then we'll come back here live to the stadium, and we'll get you starting lineups, coin toss, and hopefully kick off on time here. Clouds starting to break up a little bit, and might actually turn out to be a good night. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But thank you for listening to the Prichett Tire Tailgate Show, and we'll be back for the Jackie Jones Ford pregame show after this on News Talk 1350 WRWH.